So, crooked or curved fingers. A crooked or curved finger demonstrates a moderate amount of variance to the qualities that the finger represents. So, as we discuss the meanings of each finger, a curve or bend in that finger will change the meaning somewhat. So sometimes the finger is naturally held in a way that it leans towards or away from another finger, but it's still straight. So that represents more like a current, what's going on now, rather than a long-term matter. So the leaning of the finger shows that it's giving up some of its strength to another and leaning away from a specific finger. When it's curved throughout its entire length, it gains strength from another finger. So the finger that has another one leaning or bent towards it depicts the greatest attributes. I'll explain a little bit more about that as we get on to each of the fingers. So the very bent tip of the finger. If only the very tip of the finger is crooked, like on this photo, you can see just the top phalange is crooked. So that will have a greater implication to its meaning because it's more sudden. Usually only found on the Jupiter or Mercury finger. On the Mercury, it can show an early history of family problems. It usually indicates some mental confusion where decision-making or thoughts or the intuitive faculties were affected. So the way that people perceive things have been altered. Going on to the Jupiter finger now. If the Jupiter finger bends towards the Saturn finger, it belongs to a person who may have been a shy child, struggling with communication or independence. So they may have had to depend on others, especially in the family. It can also denote some form of insecurity, possibly due to a history of poor economic times. However, though, frequently these people grow up to be very self-assertive and determined achievers, persistently working towards their goals. They have a dutiful outlook on life, and it's probably from the struggles in childhood. So when the whole finger curves towards Saturn, this image has a very slight curvature. It is towards the Saturn finger. It shows that in relationships they are prone to be emotionally secretive and feel unstable. It can expose a possessive or jealous type nature. When only the very tip is bent, the mental faculties will be restrained or reserved, potentially affecting their self-image. When the Jupiter finger leans away from Saturn towards the thumb, it displays a very extroverted and ambitious nature. These people also like to be in the center of attention. With Saturn and Jupiter finger naturally held wide apart, the qualities of motivation, self-confidence, and individuality will be great. They will be independent, unrestrained, and not bound at all by the views of others. Saturn finger. Ideally, the Saturn finger is straight, should be straight, which shows self-control and responsibility. When it's bent, however, the boundaries and beliefs may be somewhat out of the ordinary. They don't often have strict rules or routine in their life, and decision-making is complicated. That's also true if the Saturn finger is short. And in this picture, you can see the Saturn finger does appear a little bit short, whereas only slightly longer than the other two, Apollo and Jupiter. If the Saturn finger bends towards Apollo, the qualities of Saturn favor towards the creative aspects. These people need time to be alone. It can also suggest a history of uncertainty, depression, or pressure from family duties that has clashed with their search for self-expression or achievement. Like I mentioned earlier, when the responsibility is leaning heavily on the creativity, these people don't always have an opportunity to express it as much as they would like.